Hey everyone, and welcome back to Token Talk. Now today I want to talk about, should we be concerned about the pullback that we are seeing in AI agents? And so this is going to be something where we don't have too much data to look over or anything like that. Today we're going to be talking just more kind of big picture. Should we be concerned about what we're seeing? And so obviously we'll dive in a little bit to that today. We're also going to start out just going over crypto bubbles really quick so we can kind of take stock of what we're seeing in the overall crypto market, how things are looking, a lot of that type of stuff. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in. So starting out, what we can see on crypto bubbles, a pretty mixed day in the market. We are seeing more reds than greens, but still some greens here and there. But overall, I would say, definitely a more red day on the market than green. We can see Move, Virtuals, AI16Z, kind of the ones leading the way down. If we look at the week, we can see pretty strong pullbacks in all of those, as well as just kind of the overall market. I mean, I would say the market on average is probably looking about 20 to 25% pullbacks, which isn't obviously the best news. And if we look at the month, we can see some even deeper pullbacks from there. Pretty red overall. We can't see BGB is kind of the only one that's up a substantial amount anymore at this point. But this is kind of, I think, what we've been seeing over the past 3 or 4 weeks is we've seen an overall kind of slump within the crypto market. Things are pulling back. Things are getting, a little red, a little bloody. People might be getting a little bit scared. But again, this is just kind of all par for the course. This is kind of what we expect to see. Things like that. If we do look at the total 2 market cap, we can see obviously, just about a month of completely uninterrupted moves to the upside. And now we are starting to see some, little bits of pullback, some consolidation, all of that type of stuff. As I talked about in a different video recently, basically anything between this lower band and this upper band really kind of means nothing to me. So until we see a break above this or below that, I'm not really super concerned one direction or the other, just because this is kind of the consolidationary zone that we are sitting in. And so any moves kind of within this don't mean much to me. It would be a break kind of below this or above this that would signal, potentially a continuation to the upside, or potentially, maybe a pullback to the downside, and maybe we can't hold some of these highs that we have been seeing recently. And so that's kind of what we're seeing here on the chart. Now today, like I was talking about at the beginning of the video, I did want to talk a little bit about kind of what this whole AI agent thing is doing, what it could mean, a lot of that type of stuff. So anyway, let's kind of start there. The biggest thing, obviously, that we have seen over the past month or 6 weeks is we saw AI agents just kind of everywhere going crazy. AI16Z kind of being one of the really big ones, Virtuals being kind of the protocol of another one of the big ones, and then obviously we've seen a whole bunch of different agents within Virtuals, and then also various other locations doing very, very well. As far as like the mind share within the crypto space, AI agents has gone absolutely nuts. And so now there's kind of like, we've seen a little bit of a pullback coming back here, and now we need to figure out like, what does this mean, right? And so there's a couple ways that I kind of want to talk a little bit about this, because so the first one that I want to talk about here is essentially discussing like, what was the purpose of the run to the upside in the beginning, right? And in my opinion, the purpose of the run to the upside was there was this kind of this initial discovery of Virtuals, AI agents, people kind of understanding the implications of what they could potentially do. Obviously, there's the whole frenzy around just AI generally, kind of both within crypto, but also in the wider area or the wider like ecosystem. Everybody wants AI. Everybody's super crazed about AI. Obviously, AI is, the next biggest thing, all that type of stuff. And so when we're starting to see people talking like this and, having these types of takes and optimism toward the space, this kind of feeds a little bit of a mania going on within something like AI agents, which is kind of a novel place within the space, of course, right? And so now what we need to think about is, okay, well, obviously, things like Virtuals or AI16Z, they're doing cool stuff. And so people obviously bid them up like crazy. But now we're at a point right now where, maybe that mania is subsiding a little bit. People are really starting to try and take a harder look and see, well, what do these things actually do? Do they provide value? Is the tech to the place where we have our own, Jarvis or some, agent on Twitter that can access anything and do anything and all that type of stuff? Is that actually possible, right? And then we also start to see a little bit of like, no one really knows what an AI agent is supposed to look like at this point. And so people, I think, are also starting to like look through what's being created and seeing like, okay, that's good, that's bad. This might be great, this might be a scam, a lot of that type of stuff. And so this is kind of what we're starting to see now, is people are kind of starting to get a little bit more of a discerning eye. And we're also seeing a little bit of the pullbacks just within the space, because people are like, well, is it overblown? Is it, Virtuals was $5 billion and now it's 2. Is this the fair value? Is 5 billion? Who knows what the fair value was or is at this point in time. And so this is kind of the point in time where we can start to look at the chart, see how the chart's running, see how, where we're going to see pullbacks coming from, what's the overall sentiment in the AI space. The thing that I found kind of interesting here is So we've seen a pretty steep pullback in a lot of AI agents or even AI agent type of software, but the mind share hasn't really gone away. Like, people are still pretty bullish on the space. Obviously, some people are a little bit, salty, probably because they bought the top or things like that. But we can see that people are still very bullish. Like, I think everybody understands the value of AI agents in the space, and more importantly, they understand the role that AI agents are going to play in the space when we start to essentially move a little bit further along. Now, I think right now the big assessment is, can AI agents actually do what we think they can do in the future, right? Because that's kind of quite literally the $1 million question, is because if they can do what we think they can do right now, then obviously, the future is here. We need to be getting in, buying, doing all that stuff, whatever else. But we do also have the other side of the coin, which could be, maybe the tech just isn't ready yet. Maybe the data isn't available. Maybe the user interface isn't available. Maybe people aren't ready. There's a whole bunch of different stuff for what we could be seeing as to why it may not work. But right now, I think that's kind of what we're in the middle of doing, is figuring out, okay, well, how real are these things? How good are these things? All this type of stuff. So overall, if you're a little bit scared of kind of what we're seeing within the AI space right now, generally, I would say don't worry too much. I think this is just a very common thing of what happens. The market ebbs and it flows. Obviously, if you're buying the tops, then when we start to see these retracements, things aren't going to look super fun to you, but these retracements always happen. And so if you are new to the market, I would say just keep that in mind, because we see this happen a lot. And so you just have to kind of always keep that in mind. Make sure you're staying patient, a lot of that type of stuff, because that's really how you do well in these types of markets. Now, again, not financial advice. These are just my opinions and kind of things that I'm seeing, how I have kind of estimated this market is going to unfold. Who knows? Maybe AI agents are a flash in the pan, and nobody's ever going to use them or talk about them after about a week from now. Who knows, right? I really don't think that's the case. I think the utility of AI agents is very, very well and easily known to basically everyone. And so with that, I think there's a level of people know that it's around to stay. We're just trying to gauge how real are things right now. And so I think that's kind of the biggest thing that we're looking at. So anyway, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give us a like and a subscribe. Also, if you are looking for any place to trade, we do have that link to BITUNIX in the link in the description below. They are doing up to $5,500 in deposit bonuses. So really, really good deal if you are looking for a new place to trade. BITUNIX does have that link in the description as well. So also, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave those in the comment section. We do like to always see what you guys are thinking about and talking about, all that type of stuff. Getting a general sentiment, or essentially reading YouTube comments is a really great way to kind of get a general sentiment of what's going on within the market as well. So that's another interesting thing to think about as well. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.